Dr. Robert Douglas of the Zwimmer Institute, and so on and so on. His credentials are too numerous to list here. Ladies and gentlemen, respected elders, may I present Sheikh Ahmed Deedat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن عاقبتم فعاقبوا بمثل ما عوقبتم به ولئن صبرتم لهو خير للصابرين صدق الله مولانا العظيم. Mr. Chairman and brethren, the subject that has been advertised, as you read it in the paper, was not the original topic of discussion this afternoon. The original topic, as we wanted to advertise, was the subject of this book. Each and every one of you have it. If you have it in that envelope, please take it out. Have a look at it. Everyone is supposed to have this booklet. The cover, it says, How Salman Rushdie Fooled the West. That is how we wanted to advertise, in two colors, which we had planned. We sent it over, the negatives, for publication. But the so-called British Free Press, they couldn't stomach it. How Rushdie fooled the West. They won't advertise that. They won't take our paid adverts. Believe me, I am talking about your great country, which stands for freedom of speech and expression. For who? Not for everybody, for certain selected groups. This innocent advertisement, how Rushdie fooled the West, they couldn't stomach that. So we had to change it for their benefit to say a challenge to the giants of the British literary world. These giants, the so-called giants, who are standing in support of Rushdie. I have been reading their statements. They said, never mind what he says, we support Rushdie. Never mind what he says. He is a God. He is their God today. Whatever he says, we support him. How can you deal with people like that? You say, come forward. Now I want to educate you. I want you to know what he says, because you haven't really read the book. That is why you talk like that. An amazing thing, I'm telling you now, really speaking, nobody has really read the book. Muslims and non-Muslims. Because I'm meeting your people in this country, journalists. And I'm asking them, they're asking us, I'm asking them, have you read the book? Most of them say no. They are honest. But some of them, they said, yes, we have. So I asked them, what have you read? What have you read? He said, well, it's a very, very difficult book to read. I said, yes. So many people say that. What did you read? I will come to that. I will come to that in time. Now, this book came out in September 88, I take it. And there was a furore among the Muslims of Britain. A dear friend of mine here in London, by the name of Arfaq Malik, an attorney at law, a lawyer, he faxes some pages of this filthy, dirty, satanic work to me for my attention. And naturally, any Muslim, any decent person on reading what those pages contain would be infuriated, and I was infuriated. What to do? He said, this book should be banned. So we made an approach to the director of publications, a censorship board in South Africa, and showed him a few selected pages. And it did the job. It did the job. In a country where we are less than 2%, we have no vote, no voice. One white man can buy the whole lot of us out, lock, stock and barrel. One white man. That's what we are worth. And yet we were able to perform a miracle. We beat most Muslim countries to the draw, except for India, was the first. I feel that there will be hardly anybody here who can contradict me that we were the second nation in the world to have the book banned. South Africa, the land of apartheid, the polecat of the world, did it. How was it done? These selected pages, we take them over to the director and say, sir, have a look at this. The Satanic Verses, page 461. You don't have to worry. This book is an instruction book, is an instruction manual. When you read it, some of the pages and things that you miss out, you'll find them here. This is an instruction manual for you all. He reads, nigger eat white man shit. Nigger. You know who he's talking about? The Africans. He eat white man shit. You know this word shit. It was so difficult for me to use here, in this very hall. There was a debate and I wanted to use this word and I skirted around and around, beating around the bush, and I couldn't come to it. I couldn't say the word shit. But now I have to say shit because I have to quote him. I said, now you know human dung, you know cow dung. What the hell? Therefore you were warned. You were warned. This is, look, please, if you are hypersensitive, don't come. Don't bring your women and children with you. But you have braved yourself to say, now we are prepared to listen. We are in Britain. You know, these words that I'm uttering here, I can't utter in my own country because the book is banned. I can't quote the fellow. In my own country, I can't publish this book. This tape that you will see, in case that you want to purchase this tape, videotape of this meeting, you will be able to purchase it and enjoy it at home if you want to. Put your children one side. Put them to sleep when you see this. But in my country, I can't do anything. I can't take the tape. I can't take the book. This is your privilege. You see, you have the freedom of speech and expression. I say, well, you enjoy. So nigger eat white man shit. So the censor reacts. He says, this is racist. He is a racist himself, but he said, this is rank racism. You know, how will the Africans react to this? This book is telling them that they enjoy eating white man shit. Because he has an afterthought, who? Satanic Salman. And on page 529 he says, black shit is bad. So for this brown Britisher, white shit is good, acceptable, but not black shit. Our censor says, look, this should be banned. You say boss, you say boss, we say boss. That's his language. You say boss, this is your privilege. He says, you know boss, sir, master. He is coming to South Africa to promote his book. He says, no, we can't have him. He says, boss, this is your privilege. So the book is banned and he was banned from coming to South Africa. We could have done the same thing here. You see, but we didn't really read the book. It's an amazing thing. Nobody really reads it. You see, we get worked up emotionally. This is human nature. Something that hurts us, we have no time to think. If I was here with you during those days, I would have joined you. In your marches, in your crying, in book burning, I would have been one with you.